Welcome into the Commanders Report. I am your host, Jack Sperry. Today, I'm going to be discussing 4 new trade targets, an updated list of trade targets for the Commanders to pursue here. I got some 4 names, pretty recognizable names here too, so make sure to stick around to the very end to see my complete list. But first, make sure you type HTTC for Hail to the Commanders if you bleed burgundy and gold. You are a true diehard Commanders fan. Go ahead and type HTTC for me down in the comments section to get things going. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. First name on my list of trade targets, free safety, Kevin Byard from the Tennessee Titans. I'm a big fan of Byard's game, and although the Commanders don't need to make this move, right, Darrick Forrest is an all-right free safety, and you got Jartavius Martin waiting in the wings, so if Forrest just craps the bed this year, Martin can certainly step into that free safety role. But I really like Byard's game, but let's talk a little bit about Darrick Forrest first here. 88 tackles last year, 4 interceptions and 9 pass breakups. I like Darrick Forrest, okay? I don't want to make this into a I don't like Darrick Forrest discussion, because that's not what it is. I like Darrick Forrest, but when you look at Kevin Byard, you have an opportunity to go out and get one of the best free safeties in the National Football League. 4 interceptions last year, 5 interceptions the year before that. Consistently over 100 tackles as a safety, which is very impressive. He consistently grades among the top 10 safeties in the National Football League, according to Pro Football Focus grading. So why would the Tennessee Titans think about trading him? Well, first of all, the Titans wanted him to take a pay cut this offseason. They kind of cut some big contracts this year, and Byard straight up refused. He said, I'm not taking a pay cut. You're going to pay my $13.6 base salary, along with all the roster bonuses and signing bonuses that are attached to the Tennessee Titans right now. And right now, Will Levis is coming in, and Mike Vrabel and the Titans are trying to build around that young quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is another guy that's seemingly on the trade block right now. I don't know if he's going to get dealt before the season or not, but eventually Tannehill is probably going to move on. Will Levis is their guy. It's going to take him a little bit to kind of ease into the NFL game, so they might be trying to rebuild here. And like I said before, that $13.6 base salary is what the Commanders would be on the hook for. And that really brings up 2 questions here. Number 1, can the Commanders afford that big of a cap hit on their roster here in 2023? And then also, if they can make it work financially, what will it take to bring him to the nation's capital? What will the Tennessee Titans be asking for in a trade package? And those are really the 2 biggest questions. So starting with the financial aspect of it all here. Right now, the Commanders currently have just over $4 million in available cap space. So if you're going to be taking on that $13.6 million cap hit, that base salary that Byard has next year, you need to get some capital here. If you are the Washington Commanders, you need to get $9.46 additional million here in order to make the deal work, which makes this deal pretty unlikely. I don't think Montez Sweat is going to be traded. You could potentially trade Montez Sweat for Kevin Byard, but I don't think that's something that Martin Mayhew is going to want to do, because I personally wouldn't do that. I want to see Montez Sweat dominate on the edge for the Commanders this year, and edge rusher is just way more valuable than a high-priced free safety. So here is the trade idea that I have come up with here. The Titans still get a pretty darn good free safety in Darrick Forrest, and Darrick Forrest's contract is way less than Byard, so that's something the Titans would definitely be interested in. Plus, they get an additional 3rd-round pick for next year, and the Commanders get to pair Cameron Curl, who was the number 2 graded safety overall in the National Football League last year, with one of the best free safeties in Kevin Byard, only cementing this secondary as one of the best in the National Football League. So what do you think of this trade idea? Who would win this trade? Give me an answer with Commanders or Titans in the comment section. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever YouTube throws an ad break your way, take advantage of that time by going into the comment section, giving me a Commanders or a Titans. Number 2 trade target on my list. Pretty excited to talk about this one. Zach Ertz. Okay, now Zach Ertz is somebody that people have kind of been sleeping on, in my opinion, and the Lord knows the Commanders could use that true receiving threat in the tight end room. Logan Thomas is all right. He's fine. He's not fantastic or anything like that. And you've got some pretty interesting players in the room as well, with Cole Turner and Curtis Hodges. Those guys are really athletic. Those guys have high upside, but will they really pan out? I guess we'll have to see on that. But when it comes to getting a true receiving threat here. I think Zach Ertz could totally be that for Eric Bienemy in his first year here in the nation's capital. Ertz is getting older, and Arizona is not ready to win right now. Most people expect them to have the number 1 overall pick in next year's NFL draft because their roster is that bad right now. They got a brand new head coach in Jonathan Gannon I'm not particularly fond of right now. And then the Cardinals could be looking to clean up shop and accrue as many draft picks as possible. When you're in the middle of a rebuild like Arizona is, you trade players like older players like Zach Ertz to get some more draft capital. They could certainly get that with the Washington Commanders. And then also the base salary is lower than Kevin Byard's here at $8.75. And there's 2 years left on his deal, so you'd be getting him for 2 more years. And personally, guys, I've watched the tape on Zach Ertz, and he is still a really, really good receiving threat as a tight end. He's been playing with some pretty bad quarterbacks here over the last couple of years. Kyler Murray, I think he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league, if I'm being frank with you. And I think with Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett, whoever ends up playing quarterback for the Commanders this year, it would really, really be nice for Eric Bienemy to have his Travis Kelce type role in this offense because I'm not sure Logan Thomas is talented enough as a receiver to get that done. I'm 100% confident that Zach Ertz could be that guy. So the trade idea here for Ertz, because he's older, because of all these different things, I think it would cost a 7th-round pick. I don't think that it's really going to cost that much to go out and get a guy like Zach Ertz, somebody that's aging, somebody that wants out of Arizona most likely to play for a team like the Commanders that could be competing for a playoff spot. I think this personally makes sense. Let me know who wins this trade down in the comment section by typing WAS or ARI down there in the comments. So now coming up here, I'm going to be discussing whether or not I would trade for Ertz, kind of give you my thoughts on that. But first, go ahead and go to chatsports.com/Commanders combo for this awesome 2-for-1 deal on a Commanders t-shirt. You got a long sleeve, you got a short sleeve. I like the designs here. I love the white on the long sleeve personally. Guys, it's summertime. You want to get some more Commanders gear here to gear up for the 2023 season. You can get a 2-for-1 deal on the Chat Sports website right now. Go to chatsports.com/Commanders combo to get that combination of long sleeve and short sleeve t-shirts today. So personally, if you hadn't already guessed, I'm pretty high on going out and trading for Zach Ertz. I don't think the price tag would be that high, and I think he really does fit what Eric Bienemy wants in a receiving threat at the tight end position. He's used to having a guy like Travis Kelce getting open for his quarterback in this system. Zach Ertz is still that guy, in my opinion. Maybe not quite as good as he was in his prime, but man, he is still a weapon in this league, still one of the best receiving tight ends. He's still a red zone threat as well. I would love to see him in burgundy and gold playing for the Commanders, helping out Sam Howell or whoever is quarterbacking the Commanders next season. Now, another Cardinal here. I've got Isaiah Simmons on my list as well as an inside linebacker. Probably the best inside linebacker that could be traded before the start of the 2023 season. And right now, the Commanders do need a little bit of depth, I would say, on the inside linebacker room. You got Jamin Davis, who I like a lot. Cody Barton is okay. You brought him in free agency. David Mayo, man, whatever. If you could bring in a guy like Isaiah Simmons, somebody that can play even slot cornerback, right? He can play edge. He is so versatile. That is a chess piece that Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio can put all over this defense. I think he'd be a really, really good fit. He's underperformed after he was drafted with the 8th overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft, right? He was supposed to be this mega star, super weapon, this kind of thing, and he just hasn't been that to this point. Close to 100 tackles last year, but just like Zach Ertz, like the Cardinals are trying to clean up shop right now and get as much draft capital as possible. After a pretty decent season from Simmons last year, this might be their best bet to go out and get some draft capital for him before he hits free agency in 2023. I think he's a really, really good player. I think if you bring him in, he would compete with Cody Barton for that second inside linebacker spot. And I don't think it will be that expensive to go get him. I think it would cost a 6th-rounder, maybe a 5th-rounder to go out and get a guy like Isaiah Simmons. And for me, with the upside that Simmons has, I think that deal would absolutely be worth it. So who would win this trade? Let me know in the comments by typing W for Washington or typing A for Arizona. And the final name here on my list is Buffalo Bills center Mitch Morse. Now, the Commanders aren't really looking for a center right now. They're more looking towards the guard position. But the Bills are trying to accrue cap space right now because they're going after DeAndre Hopkins. They want to get as much cap space as possible, and they just drafted O'Cyrus Torrence in the 2023 NFL Draft. They're good on the offensive line, which has made Mitch Morse very expendable right now, and they can save over $6 million by trading him elsewhere here. And the 2023 base salary, just over $6.5 million with 2 years left on his deal. If I'm the Commanders and I'm trying to protect Sam Howell for the next couple of years, I would love to have a great starting caliber center like Mitch Morse right there in the middle. I don't really trust Nick Gates at center personally. I think he's had some very shaky play throughout his career. I think getting a guy like Morse in the middle of your offensive line would be a godsend for Sam Howell, for this running game, for this offense in general. Now, right now, we talked about, even yesterday's show, Sadiq Charles is expected to be the presumptive starter at left guard. That's what head coach Ron Rivera says. Chris Paul is right behind him. Neither of these guys are really good. I would rather move Nick Gates to left guard because he's been a better guard than center in his career to this point. And Mitch Morse, plug him in at center right in the middle there. I think that'd be a fantastic fit for the Washington Commanders. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. And I covered a bunch of different free agency targets at the guard position on yesterday's video, so make sure to check that one out here after today's video. I'll put the link to that one in the comment section of today's video. But now, here's what I have for the trade idea when it comes to Morse. I think because he's getting a bit older, because the Bills do want to get rid of him, I think that a fourth-round pick is more than fair here. And maybe they could even get him for less than this because the Bills really want DeAndre Hopkins. And to get Morse off their books, they might even be willing to take a fifth or a sixth rounder. So who would win this trade? Let me know by going Washington or Buffalo down there in the comments. One last time here. This is my last trade idea. Give me a winner to this trade. That's going to be it for today's show, guys. Make sure you type real one down in the comment section if you made it to the end of today's video. Really do appreciate everybody that makes it to the end of these things. And make sure to click that subscribe button, because if you're here and you've made it all the way to the end, we must be doing something right. So make sure to click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because we got a bunch of great stuff coming out on the channel here coming soon. That's going to be it for me today, guys. I will see you guys later. And as always, hail to the Commanders.